Hey folks, Brendan here from Bluelight, talking to you live in Little Hobmore in York. This is my happy place. And for those of you who haven't seen any of these lives before, this is where I often provide guidance on how to succeed in the police recruitment process. But today I'm going to have a rant. Seriously, I'm going to have a rant because I get so annoyed sometimes on behalf of you, on behalf of thousands of my clients. I get so annoyed about the ridiculous state of the police recruitment process. Oh, by the way, there's a little doggy in the background. Summer, Summer! There she is. What a good doggy. Anyway, rant time. There's two things I want to rant about today, and it's not just two forces. There's so many forces cock up recruitment so much. They've got to try so hard to cock up recruitment, and I just don't understand some of the nonsense they get up to. So first of all, rant time number one, and I could go on for like 20, but I'm just going to stick to two rants today. And I'm also going to tell you how to avoid those rants. So the first big rant is about the Metropolitan Police, who have not promised, but if you put something on your website to say you're recruiting people for the initial police learning and development program, then, you know, that's like your word, isn't it? Summer, hang on, the doggy's just, there's a group of people doing some dancing there, and Summer's gone to annoy them. Summer, come on, girl. So, there she is. Stop annoying the dancers. So anyway, the Metropolitan Police put on their website last year that they are recruiting for the initial police learning and development program. Great. And so many of you actually applied for that because you didn't have the necessary qualifications, or you didn't want to do the police constable degree apprenticeship, because trust me, the police constable degree apprenticeship is not it's not a walk in the park. You know, I hear so many people talking about how they have to study for their degree and do all the essays and such like on their rest days. They just don't get time. They don't get time and work. All that time you promised, oh yeah, we'll give you 20% of your time at work to do it. No, that doesn't happen. That's just not reality. Or if it is reality, it's reality for a very, very few forces. So all of these individuals waiting, preparing for the online assessment centre, and then they just drop it. They just drop it. That's it. They just write to them all to say, we're not doing it anymore. I mean, how can you get away with that? That's just nonsense, isn't it? And it's absolute nonsense. So does that mean to say we can't believe anything that's on the Metropolitan Police website in terms of recruitment? For me, it does. For me, it means that anything that they put on their website is to be taken with a pinch of salt. And I don't think they realise the massive reputational damage this does. Summer, this way. Massive reputational damage. Now, the good thing is, meeting with the head of Met HR and recruitment in a couple of weeks' time. So, boy, have I got a long list of moans and groans. They just don't seem to get it right. And don't they understand the reputational risk that so many people, thousands of people in the Bluelight Facebook group get to hear about this. And hundreds of people are getting to hear about it on this live now. I wouldn't trust anything that's on the Met Police website, because they could just go bandit on you. And I know some people may be saying, hey, get used to it. That's what being in the police is like. But if that's how they're going to treat you in the recruitment process, how are they going to treat you when you're actually in? How are they going to treat you once you're actually in the police? If that's how they treat you in the recruitment process. If they mess you about like that and do U-turns like that, what's it going to be like once you're actually in? So Justin said, wait, did you just say they're dropping the PCDA? No, they're not. They're not dropping the PCDA. They're dropping the initial police learning and development program. Having advertised it, having allowed people to apply for it, and it's not that you can't do it anymore, because other forces are. Nottinghamshire, Kent, I believe, and Essex are still doing the IPL-DIPL, the initial police learning and development program. So it's not that they can't do it, they've just decided they're not. So there you go. I'm going to put them on a yellow card there, because anything on the Met Police website, take it with a pinch of salt, because they could go bandit on you. They could go bandit on you. And I know forces have done that before. And I'm going to go now to my second rant, which is Cheshire Constabulary. Cheshire Constabulary, please, come on, wake up. Wake up, the amount of damage you're doing to your reputation. And this is a force I proudly belong to. I joined the Cheshire Constabulary in 1985 as Constable 2243 and left in 1989 to go to the Bermuda Police. It wasn't a transfer. I had to resign and then join the Bermuda Police. But there wasn't a day in between where I wasn't a police officer. I timed it like that. But anyway, so what have Cheshire been doing? Well, they've done it before. They've over-recruited. Over-recruiting. And this, by the way, is madness. What I'm going to tell you about now is absolute insanity. So there's quite a few of my clients have succeeded in everything for the Cheshire Constabulary. They've succeeded in the online assessment centre. They've succeeded in their interview. And they've passed. They've passed everything. And they've been selected. That's the important thing. They've been told your start date's going to be in November. And I'm so pleased for them. That's just awesome news. And then there's another group that have been told you've passed the online assessment centre, you've passed the interview, but we've got no room for you. We've got no room for you. There's no space for you, which means that their scores weren't as high as the ones who have actually been selected. Because the only legitimate way they can select people is based on scores. Cheshire should know this. They're the ones who got caned for selecting people who were minorities over white officers, even though the white officers, the white candidates, scored higher than the minority officers, and they got an absolute caning for it. They got taken to court for it, rightly so. I'm a huge believer in diversity, equality and inclusion, massive, as you well know. I'm promoting this all the time, but when you start doing daft stuff like that, did you not think about it? And Cheshire, come on, you're not thinking about what you're doing now, because on Monday you're opening up for recruitment again. So you've got people who've passed the online assessment centre, they've passed the interview, you've told them they've passed, and you've also told them there's no room for you, and you've also told them they can apply again on Monday. What the hell's that all about? They've passed everything. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I don't get it. I really don't. So there you go, folks. There's my big rant. I mean, I could rant about so many other forces as well. How hard is it to get recruitment right? You've got to try really hard to mess things up like Cheshire and the Met. You really have. The Met Police, I mean, their communication's awful. It's dreadful. You've got people who've been waiting for their vetting for ages, and they've been told, yeah, everything's fine, and yet other people have been given start dates who did their online assessment centres after them. There's no communication. Communication's dreadful. The U-turns are dreadful. The poor communication that I've seen in the past, where people have been told they've been failed, and then 2 days later to get an email to say, oh no, we made a mistake, you've actually passed. You know, that sort of stuff happens all the time. Cocking things up on a really professional level. And then Cheshire, I don't get it. I mean, Cheshire are guilty also of, I think it was last year, they told people they actually had a start date, and then they cancelled it. They cancelled it just several weeks before the actual start date. How do you get away with that? And what's it going to be like once you're actually in the police? Now, I know some of you recruitment sorts are going to say, oh, it's really difficult, budgets, blah, 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 blah. It's hard to plan because of all sorts of variables. Well, get a grip. Start planning properly. Start doing some analysis around those variables. And if you make a promise on a website, or if you tell people they've passed, have a place for them. Don't over-recruit. And don't do what they're doing at the moment, which is telling people they've passed everything, but there's no space for you. But you can apply again on Monday. What is that about? Anyway, folks, there you go. There's my rant over. Phew. How to avoid it, though? Well, pin them down. So for the Met Police, I would absolutely pin them down. I'd go on there. They do these sort of webinars where you can ask questions. Pin them down. No matter how senior the person is, pin them down. I mean, I've challenged the Deputy Commissioner, Sir Stephen House, on a few things. I've got to say, his answers were awful. I just got fobbed off, despite the fact I'm on a working group of his, which is aiming to improve recruitment. And he just fobbed me off. So, you know, challenge them and get things in writing. So when it's said in a webinar that we are definitely running the Ipple Dipple, screenshot it and throw it back at them. And if they say, oh no, we've decided not to, stick on social media. You know, they've got to learn somehow, and if they're going to learn by their reputation being damaged, then so be it. That's up to them. Like I said, I wouldn't trust the Met at the moment in terms of anything on their website. But what I would do is hedge my bets by applying to different forces. So I wouldn't just apply to the Metropolitan Police. I'd apply to neighbouring Home Office forces as well. I'd apply to British Transport Police, and yes, you can apply to as many forces as you want, despite what they might tell you. It's the College of Policing rules. they've got to comply with it. And if they don't comply with it, let me know, and I'll be all over social media pecking their heads about it. I've done that before with forces. Summer, come on, this way. I've done that before with forces, and I'll do it again, and get them to sort out their dirty laundry. What else can you do in terms of Cheshire? I'm not quite sure what you can do with Cheshire. I suppose ask them at the very earliest opportunity, if I pass everything, is there actually going to be a place for me? Because I'm aware that you've dicked people about in the past. I wouldn't word it as dick people about, but that's what they're doing. I'm aware that you've told people that they've passed everything, but there's no room for you. And then you open up for recruitment again, just days after you open up the recruitment window and telling them to apply. I'm still aghast. I can't see any sense in that. So Cheshire, pull your socks up. But again, the same thing. I'd hedge my bets by applying to different forces. Have several irons in the fire if you possibly can. I know for some of you it might be difficult because you might be thinking, well, I'm stuck to a geographical area, in which case, I don't know what to suggest. Highlight it to the Policing and Crime Commissioner. You know, this is just insane. If anyone can point out to me why this is a sane approach to recruitment, please do so. Anyway, folks, there you go. There's the end of the rant, and there's some of the things you can do about it. And if any of you are from Met or Cheshire and you're watching this and thinking, oh, but it's not really like that, you don't understand. Well, try and help me understand. Explain it to me. Explain the insanity behind some of your decisions that are affecting people's lives and hurting people who have got this strong, burning desire to be a police officer. Try and explain to me, help me understand why you've messed them about so much. All right, get off your soapbox, Brendan. I hope that's been helpful for you. I've got it off my chest on your behalf. Back to walk home now. Let's walk home. Let's get out my special little happy place, and I'll see some of you soon. Oh, some shout outs, by the way. Ajmain, Daniel, Dan, Anna, Sarah. Oh my, so many of you watching. Aaron's saying, yep, happened to a friend of mine. It happens all the time, this messing people about. It's got to stop. Gabriella, how you doing? Kaylee, who else is watching? Magdalena, Ethan, Tom. Wow, so many of you. Justin, Sarah. Oh, so many of you I know as well. It's great to see you going on Facebook Live. Siley, Joseph, Josh, Ajmain, who's asking, Brendan, are the York Minster Police real? Yes, they are. There's a couple of members of the Bluelight Facebook group who are actually members of the York Minster Constabulary. It's the oldest police force in the country. It's older than the Met. So yes, it is real, and it is a real police force, and they do have PPE, and they do have powers of arrest, although they don't exercise it that much. William's saying, waiting a year now, still at briefing stage. Oh God, yeah, the time as well, the time. Singer, Peter, oh, so many of you watching. John, Pewey, hey, I don't know if you're still watching, John, but good to see you. Someone from Blast from the Past there, someone I joined with back in '85. All right, folks, well, listen, rant over. I'll speak to you soon. From wonderful York, and from the dancing going on in the background there. Isn't it great? You just live somewhere where people just like go dancing. It's just awesome. I'll catch you with you soon. Bye-bye for now.